if you get a guy that constantly getting in trouble and never gonna come to prison, that's because he's an informant, he's a rat, a snitch.
You be seeing these interviews with Snoop speaking on Biggie. How does that make you feel?
That's propaganda for the media, bro.
Like, this either the moment you gonna kill me, but we're gonna get some clarity in this air. We got a 5.5-hour flight.
Wasn't you in fear for your life because you put your cover over your head with your fork in your hand because you wanted to, because you was riding on a plane with Pac, and if it was all that love, you wouldn't have to do that.
One of the biggest and most ruthless celebrities of the 90s was Suge Knight, who had people trembling with fear with the mere mention of his name. Nobody messed with Suge Knight. Well, except one person. That person is none other than the infamous rapper Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg isn't one to stay away from drama. In fact, his beef with Suge Knight turned pretty ugly. Suge has finally revealed the details of his grievance with Snoop Dogg. What was it all about? Let's find out. Snoop's peculiar character is a topic of discussion for years now. The rapper always finds himself in the middle of drama, yet somehow manages to avoid taking any sides. This habit of his might have protected him at the time, only to be labeled as a cheat and a snitch later on. Reggie Wright claimed that Snoop had snitched on Suge and told the police about the reality of Tupac's murder.
He snitched. He snitched. That trying to say that Suge Knight is the one that murdered Tupac. He told the cops that.
Snoop's dramatic relationship with Suge Knight and their subsequent beef started back when Snoop joined Death Row Records, owned by Suge. Initially, all was good between the two. Snoop even respected him at one point.
We just was rappers trying to be rappers. He like, nah, we gotta go do some community active work. We gotta go get with Danny Blackwell from the Brotherhood Crusade. We gotta go do things with these people and this and that. Y'all put a suit on. Y'all get y'all look together.
Suge was no heroic figure in the industry. In fact, he was a gangster and a bully. His record label, Death Row, had a serious and well-known rivalry with Bad Boy Records, owned by Diddy. As the two record labels went head-to-head on charts and the rap market, things got uglier and uglier, till it got to murder. Suge was imprisoned in 1996 after being found guilty of racketeering, while the murder of Tupac also shockingly involved the record producer's name. Still, Suge expected Snoop Dogg to be a loyal and devoted label mate, and expected him to back him up. But Snoop quickly changed his mind. It would appear Tupac's murder was a wake-up call for the rapper.
They showed that it's not a rivalry, it's peace. And that's, from my point of view, I got my hand out to any rapper that want to go on the road with me and make some money and make it happen.
After the release of his second album, Snoop decided that picking sides in this battle was only going to hurt his career and even endanger his life. The only way out was to refuse to take anyone's side. The Dogfather was a rebirth of me. I'm not gonna glorify none of this negativity that Death Row wanted me to. I'm gonna bring a positive side of music. Snoop leaving Death Row Records while Suge faced prison time was the start of a very dangerous rivalry between the two. Snoop Dogg moved bass to join Master P's No Limit Records and turned against his old label boss in the process, claiming, "I was working against the devil, and through the grace of God, Master P and Priority Records put a deal together that was suitable for me." Snoop got arrested for possession of drugs, and instead of owning up to his crime or getting a good lawyer, he decided to throw Suge under the bus.
He got arrested. They arrested him
For something else.
for some marijuana. Him and Daz got arrested for possession of marijuana because they ran into the police with marijuana.
After Trey hit it.
Yeah, because they were scared.
Of course, Suge was furious at this betrayal. He had scores to settle with all of his enemies, but most of all Snoop Dogg. It'll be like the Wild West all over again. I got plenty of scores to settle. Snoop knew what he had gotten himself into, and even went to the police to ensure he remained unharmed and safe. Reggie recalled this as well.
Daz went running, according to the police report, saying, "They got a gun, they tried to me."
Wow.
Apparently, the two reconciled without any serious damage to either of the parties involved. But things have once again turned ugly in Suge and Snoop's story. After Suge was sentenced to 28 years in prison, the Long Beach rapper became the new owner of Death Row in February 2022 after acquiring the label.
So I hit them and like, let me work for y'all. Play was cool, but it's like, yeah, how much to buy this? How much to buy Death Row first?
In retaliation, Suge has made startling allegations against Snoop. Suge says this time, instead of being a snitch, Snoop has gone one step further and taken over his life's work illegally. Knight claims Snoop's stake in the label only occurred due to an alleged crime committed by the rapper, and Michael Harry O. Harris, a convicted drug kingpin and an initial financier of Death Row Records. Snoop has a partner, which is Michael Harris, right? If you look at it, they committed bankruptcy fraud. I didn't lose my company by doing anything wrong. They went in, and the lawyer didn't show up, and they got a default judgment. I settled the judgment. They turned around and said I didn't settle the judgment. The beef between the two men has escalated to a point of no return now. The former owner of Death Row Records is furious at the man he once considered his friend. He says Snoop cannot just show up and take over the company he has spent his whole life building. You can't take a person who committed the worst crime of the century to take death row from black people to try to give it to white people and think you're gonna turn around and reward and say he's gonna grab Snoop and he's gonna go get it back and have death row. It doesn't work like that. So if we're gonna talk about something, let's talk about it. He says he did everything for his artists, but they turned around and stabbed him in the back, including Snoop.
I took on a fight for these clowns because I didn't want them getting robbed. And they crossed me.
Snoop, on the other hand, is ecstatic on this new development, and apparently, he couldn't care less about Suge's feelings regarding the matter. I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value. It feels good to have ownership of the label I was part of at the beginning of my career, and as one of the founding members. He has no remorse or fear of Suge left. When asked about Suge, Snoop condescendingly called him an inmate.
Suge Knight recently said he used to be a superstar and now he's just a no-limit soldier. What do you say to that?
Nothing. He used to be a CEO, now he's just an inmate.
Snoop Dogg being a snitch is an open secret in the rap industry. Ask any rapper what they think of Snoop, and snitch seems to be everyone's go-to word to describe him. Suge, who knew him best, also calls him a snitch.
If you get a guy that constantly getting in trouble and never gonna come to prison, that's because he's an informant. He's a rat, a snitch.
That's what 6ix9ine called him on his Instagram page.
Snoop Dogg paperwork all over the internet. Snoop Dogg's paperwork right here. Snoop Dogg's paperwork for everyone to see.
6ix9ine made a post that he had been given information on which rappers had snitched in the past, before he became an informant himself. He tagged Snoop Dogg with a post that read, "Snoop Dogg, hey sir, let's chat." He even brought up the infamous Suge Knight controversy that Snoop was involved in. They pick and choose who they want to call rats. There's paperwork, and Suge Knight's prison interview. But the industry acts blind, mute, and deaf. I'm not letting up either. Snoop, however, was not having any of these rumors. He quickly appeared to defend himself and was adamant that all this gossip of him snitching on Suge was based on nothing but lies. He said, "I ain't have nothing to do with Suge Knight getting time. We had the same lawyers. This rat is calling me a snitch, and FYI, he most likely drew up the papers. He does work with the police. Suge and I are on great terms now, so if I told him, we would never be cool. And that's a fact, clown. Now carry on and stay tuned for the Tattletales movies and record." In an interview, Reggie Wright was asked about the whole 6ix9ine and Snoop shenanigan, and he didn't hesitate to call him a snitch.
How do you feel about 6ix9ine calling Snoop Dogg a snitch?
He did snitch. We put up paperwork and showing it. So he did snitch or try to snitch.
It would also appear that thinking about his own benefit in every situation isn't Snoop Dogg's only sin. Apparently, professional jealousy is a close second. Sources claim that his relationship with label mate Tupac had its fair share of ups and downs throughout their careers, and that right before Tupac's death, the two were definitely in the down part. Even Snoop Dogg himself confessed this and said, "Man, I'd say a week before he died we were best of friends. 2 days before he died, I didn't think he liked me because we were in New York and shit had happened. New York guys had shot at me and did all kinds of shit to me, just the worst shit you could think of, and I forgave him." He said that he wanted to make music with the rival musicians as well, but that rubbed Tupac the wrong way. Then I went and did an interview and was asked how I feel about Puffy and Biggie. I was like, I like them guys. I want to do some music with them. And that just rubbed Cuz the wrong way. Like, dude, them guys. Them guys tried to kill me. They shot at you. And you talking about you want to do a song with them guys? What exactly did Snoop expect? That Tupac would feel fine even if he decided to make music with people who Tupac assumed had tried to kill him? Clearly, Tupac only felt angry at this betrayal, much like Suge. Apparently, Snoop even lied after Tupac passed away and claimed that he was in the hospital to see him. Danny Boy, who had been at the hospital with Tupac, revealed Snoop's lies.
How do you feel about Snoop Dogg claiming that he came to visit Tupac while he was in the hospital?
No, I didn't see the dog pound. I didn't see Snoop.
So, did Snoop lie about meeting Tupac in the hospital just to appear closer to him? It also seems that just like this, Snoop made up a fake relationship with Biggie as well, but Biggie's former bodyguard wouldn't let the lies pass.
Wasn't Big out at California 3-4 weeks and Snoop never saw him? Snoop never came to smoke nothing with him? Snoop never came to eat nothing with him?
Looks like Snoop has quite a habit of exaggerating his friendships and relationships. He always painted Biggie and himself to be very close, but the truth cannot be farther from it. In fact, it would appear Biggie didn't even like him.
Big got in that studio and said, I don't know why this Snoop's calling me. I'm not telling this where I'm at.
This just shows that Snoop likely doesn't hesitate to lie if it comes to making himself look good. He will do whatever it takes to look relevant, but oftentimes this habit backfires. People don't like Snoop Dogg, some because of his alleged snitching, and others because of his supposed lies. But the biggest flaw in his character might be the fact that no one can trust him. It would appear that if anything happens, you can always count on Snoop Dogg to throw you under the bus. One person wrote, "Funny how Snoop Dogg called 6ix9ine a snitch on Instagram, but he had to sign with Master P in order to get protection for Suge Knight." Another wrote, "And yes, it's paperwork concerning Snoop Dogg just because you may not have seen it or dug it up. Don't say nah, he's not a snitch. I need to see paperwork, and even if it wasn't, he did it on national TV concerning Tupac and Suge Knight. It's the same thing." That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.